everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you're someone who's trying to improve your English fluency, this episode is definitely for you.
Absolutely. Today we're diving into a super important topic: common mistakes that kill your fluency. You might be learning English for months, maybe even years, but still feel stuck, like you're not speaking smoothly or confidently. And often, it's because of small mistakes that we repeat without even realizing it.
That's right, Jason. These aren't grammar mistakes or spelling errors. We're talking about the habits, fears, and wrong learning strategies that silently stop your progress. And the good news is, once you know them, you can avoid them and grow faster.
In today's episode, we'll go through the top 5 fluency-killing mistakes. We'll do a fun role play to show how they happen in real life. And we'll also give you a 7-day challenge to help you fix them.
So grab your notebook, stay with us until the end, and let's make sure these common mistakes never hold you back again.
Let's get started with the first big mistake, one that almost every learner makes in the beginning. All right, let's jump into the first big mistake that kills fluency. And that is translating from your native language too much. Julia, this is such a common issue, right?
Oh yes, Jason. Many learners try to think in their native language first, then translate the sentence into English. It sounds logical, but it actually slows you down and makes your English sound unnatural.
Exactly. For example, if someone wants to say, "I'm hungry," but they try to translate it word for word from their language, the sentence might come out wrong or sound awkward.
Yes, and here's the problem: when you translate, your brain is doing double the work. First, it's thinking in your own language, then trying to find the English version. That delay makes speaking feel harder and slower.
And not only that, sometimes phrases in your native language don't even exist in English, or they're said very differently. So you might say something that just doesn't make sense to native speakers.
Right. That's why it's so important to start thinking in English, even with small, simple sentences like, "It's hot today," or "Where is my bag?"
And if that feels hard at first, don't worry, it's normal. One great way to stop translating is to use pictures, not words. When you see a chair, think chair, not the word in your language.
That's a great tip. Another idea is to practice with common sentence patterns, like "Can I jiu?" or "I like to jius." When you practice these chunks, your brain stops translating and starts using English naturally.
And the more you listen to English podcasts, movies, real conversations, the more your brain gets used to the rhythm of English. Over time, you'll stop needing to translate.
So remember, translating is like walking with one shoe on. It slows you down and makes fluency harder. Instead, train your mind to live in English, even for short moments each day.
Well said, Julia. Coming up next. Mistake 2. Focusing too much on grammar. Trust me, this one's a trap for many learners. Now, let's talk about mistake 2 that kills fluency, and that is focusing too much on grammar. Julia, this one might surprise some learners.
Yes, it might. Because grammar is important, of course, but the mistake is when learners focus only on grammar, like memorizing rules and doing grammar exercises all day, and they forget to actually use English to communicate.
Right. I've seen learners who know all the tenses, all the rules, and still can't have a simple conversation. Why? Because grammar doesn't build confidence, or fluency practice does.
Exactly. Speaking fluently means being able to respond quickly and naturally, and that only happens when you practice speaking, listening, and thinking in English. You don't need to speak perfectly, you just need to speak.
Yes. Think about how children learn. They don't learn grammar first. They listen, They repeat, they make mistakes, and that's how they become fluent. We need to do the same.
And here's something important. Many fluent English speakers make small grammar mistakes, and that's okay. Native speakers do it too. What matters more is communication, not perfection.
So if you find yourself spending hours on grammar worksheets, but avoiding speaking or listening, it's time to change your routine. Use grammar as a support, not your main focus.
Totally agree. A good rule is spend 20% on grammar and 80% on using English, like watching shows, having conversations, or listening to podcasts like this one.
So remember, friends, don't let grammar fear stop your progress. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. You just need to keep using English, even if it's not 100% correct.
Up next, mistake 3. Not practicing speaking regularly. And trust me, this one is a big block for many learners.
All right, we're now on mistake 3, and this one is a real fluency killer. Not practicing speaking regularly. Julia, how many learners do we know who say they want to speak better, but they never actually speak?
So true, Jason. A lot of learners read books, watch videos, and study vocabulary, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. Why? Because they don't practice speaking enough, and their mouth isn't trained to form English sentences.
Exactly. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. You can't just read or listen and expect to magically become fluent. You need to open your mouth and speak often.
And here's the thing. You don't need a teacher or a native speaker to start. You can talk to yourself in English, describe what you're doing, or even practice conversations in your head.
Yes. For example, while cooking, say, "Now I'm cutting the vegetables. The water is boiling. I need a spoon." This kind of self-talk builds confidence and fluency.
Another great method is to record yourself speaking for 1 minute every day. Choose a topic like your favorite food, your weekend plans, or your goals and just speak. Then listen to it and see how you can improve.
And don't wait for the perfect moment to speak. Speak when you're not ready. Speak when you're unsure. That's how fluency grows, by making mistakes and learning from them.
Exactly. Fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Even speaking for just 5 minutes a day can make a big difference in a few weeks.
So, if you've been learning English but not speaking it, start today. Don't wait. Fluency begins the moment you start using your voice.
Coming up next, mistake 4. The fear of making mistakes. It's something we all face, but you'll hear why it shouldn't stop you.
We're now at mistake 4, and this one is very personal for many learners: the fear of making mistakes.
Yes, Jason. So many people feel shy, nervous, or even embarrassed when they try to speak English. They worry about sounding wrong, using the wrong words, or being laughed at.
But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. In fact, they're your best teacher. Every time you make a mistake, your brain gets a chance to learn and grow.
That's right. Nobody becomes fluent without making lots of mistakes first. Even native speakers make grammar or pronunciation errors sometimes, and they don't stop speaking because of it.
Exactly. Fluency is not about speaking perfectly. It's about communicating your ideas with confidence, even if you make a few errors along the way.
And the funny thing is, when you finally stop being afraid of mistakes, you actually start improving faster. You speak more, you try more, and your confidence grows.
Yes, I always tell my students, be proud of your mistakes. They show that you're learning. If you're not making mistakes, it probably means you're not using English enough.
So to our listeners, next time you hesitate to speak because you're scared of messing up, remember, every mistake you make is a step forward.
Beautifully said, Julia. Don't let fear hold your fluency hostage. Mistakes aren't the end. They're just the beginning.
Coming up next, Mistake 5. Memorizing without using words in real life. This one is sneaky but very common.
All right, let's move on to mistake 5. And this is something we see all the time, memorizing vocabulary without using the words in real context.
Yes, Jason, many learners try to memorize long vocabulary lists, hoping it will make them fluent. But here's the problem: just knowing a word isn't enough. If you don't use it in real situations, you'll forget it quickly or not know how to use it correctly.
Exactly. You might know 1,000 English words, but if you don't know how and when to use them, they won't help you much in a real conversation.
Let's take an example. Someone learns the word advice. Great! But if they don't practice saying, "Can I give you some advice?" or "Thanks for your advice," they might say something wrong, like an advice which sounds unnatural.
That's a perfect example. So the key here is, don't just memorize, personalize. Use the new word in a sentence about your own life. If you learn delicious, say, "This soup is delicious." That's how the brain remembers.
And it helps even more if you write the word down in a notebook, say it out loud, and use it in a real or practice conversation. That's active learning, and it's what leads to real fluency.
So, if you've been memorizing random word lists, try switching to phrases and real-life examples. Focus on the most common words and practice them again and again in context.
Remember, fluency doesn't come from knowing the most words, it comes from knowing how to use the right words at the right time.
Beautifully said, Julia. Up next, we'll show you all 5 mistakes in action through a fun and realistic role play. Don't miss it.
Hey Amir, long time no see. How have you been?
Yes. I am, feeling good. Yesterday I go, to market. I buy many vegetables for cooking.
Oh, okay. So you went to the market and bought vegetables?
Yes, go Ed, no, went. Sorry, my grammar bad.
No worries, you're doing fine. What did you cook?
I cooked chicken with, spicy water like my mother always do in my country.
Oh, maybe you mean chicken curry?
Yes, chicken curry. I don't know the English word. In my language, we call it murga masala.
Ah, I see. Sounds delicious. So do you often cook?
Sometimes I cooking, sometimes no. I like cooking, but I speak English no good. I feel shy. I afraid mistake come.
Don't worry, Amir. You're trying, and that's what matters. Just keep practicing.
Thank you, I try learn many words. Yesterday I learned benefit, priority, atmosphere, consequence. But I know how to use.
That's okay. We can learn how to use them together.
All right, so, listeners, did you catch the mistakes Amir made in that short conversation?
Yes, he was translating directly from his native language, focusing too much on grammar, not confident in speaking, scared of making mistakes, and memorizing words without using them in context.
Exactly. And while it's totally normal to start this way, the goal is to recognize these habits and slowly change them so you can speak more naturally and fluently.
Coming up next, we'll break down exactly what went wrong in that role play and how you can avoid making the same mistakes.
All right, let's take a moment to break down what just happened in that role play with Amir. There were quite a few fluency-killing mistakes, and we want to highlight them so our listeners can learn from them.
Yes, let's start with the first mistake, translating from the native language. Amir said things like spicy water instead of curry. That happened because he was trying to translate a concept from his language, and it didn't quite work in English.
Exactly. It's better to learn common English phrases and concepts directly, so you're not guessing or translating when you speak.
The second mistake was focusing too much on grammar. Amir kept apologizing for making grammar mistakes instead of just continuing the conversation. Remember, grammar is helpful, but communication is more important.
Then came mistake 3, not practicing speaking enough. You could tell Amir wasn't used to speaking in English. He paused a lot and searched for words. Regular speaking practice, even alone, helps build that speaking muscle.
Right? Then we saw mistake 4, fear of making mistakes. Amir said, "I feel shy. I afraid mistake come." That fear was holding him back from speaking freely, but making mistakes is how you grow.
And finally, mistake 5, memorizing without context. Amir listed some fancy vocabulary like benefit and consequence, but he didn't know how to use them in a sentence. That's what happens when you memorize without real practice.
So if you recognized yourself in Amir, don't worry. These mistakes are common, but they're also fixable. The key is to practice smart, speak more often, and focus on using real language in real situations.
And now that you know what the problems are, let's talk about how to actually fix them coming up next. Now that we've talked about the 5 common mistakes that kill fluency, let's talk solutions. How can you actually fix these mistakes and speak English more naturally?
Let's go one by one. First, to stop translating from your native language, start thinking in English even with small daily thoughts. For example, instead of thinking "I'm hungry" in your language first, train your brain to say it directly in English.
Exactly. And for those who focus too much on grammar, try shifting your routine. Spend more time on listening and speaking practice, and only 20% of your time on grammar rules.
Mistake 3. Not speaking enough can be fixed by creating a simple daily habit. Talk to yourself, record a 1-minute voice diary, or practice with a friend. Even 5 minutes a day helps.
Yes. For fear of making mistakes, remind yourself, mistakes mean progress. Every time you mess up, you're learning. The more relaxed you become about mistakes, the faster you'll grow.
And finally, if you've been memorizing without context, change your method. Learn words through phrases, stories, or real situations. If you learn the word challenge, use it in a sentence like, "Learning English is a fun challenge for me."
Remember, fluency is not about perfection. It's about practice, confidence, and communication. When you apply these small changes daily, you'll start seeing big results.
Coming up next, a special challenge just for you, our listeners, to help you put all of this into action starting today.
All right, listeners, it's time for a challenge. We want you to take on our 7-day fluency mistake detox plan to help you break these common mistakes and boost your English fluency.
Here's the simple plan. For the next 7 days, spend at least 5 to 10 minutes daily practicing these steps. Think in English. Try to catch yourself translating and stop. Practice thinking directly in English. Speak out loud. Talk to yourself. Record your voice or practice with a friend. It doesn't have to be perfect. Use new words in sentences. Don't just memorize vocabulary lists. Make sentences with new words related to your daily life. Accept mistakes. When you slip up, smile and keep going. Mistakes mean you're learning. Listen more. Watch or listen to simple English podcasts, videos, or conversations to get used to natural English.
Doing this every day for just 5 to 10 minutes will make a huge difference. After 7 days, you'll feel more confident and notice your English improving.
We'd love to hear how it goes. Share your progress in the comments or on social media using the hashtag #FluencyDetox.
You've got this. Keep going, and don't let those mistakes stop your fluency journey. Well, that wraps up today's episode on common mistakes that kill your fluency. Remember, fluency isn't about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and courage.
Absolutely, Jason. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't worry about grammar all the time. And most importantly, keep speaking every day. The more you use English naturally, the easier it becomes.
And if you take on our 7-day Fluency Mistake Detox Challenge, you'll be surprised at how much progress you can make in a short time.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment telling us what mistakes you want to fix next.
We'll be back soon with more tips and fun conversations to help you on your English learning journey.
Until then, keep practicing, stay confident, and speak naturally. See you next time.
Bye, everyone!